Oh, this is Bobby at Copel TV Repair with I haven't done 3 videos in one day in quite some time. Functionality Pro for Toshiba mainboard. This is PE0949 and that was sent to a customer. First I want to show that it does work. Well, let me focus on something unique that they may find about that board, like this marking or this number 3, so that they know this is their board. Somewhere along there might be their signature, but that should be enough. This is what we have. And you should be good with that. And I'm not very good with the corner there. That is ready to break from sitting like that too long. What you should know is that the problem with those boards, like many others from that generation, comes from aging of the PCB itself. There is no electrical failure here. The heat makes the board warp unevenly, starting from this point. It either benches upwards or goes downwards. And when that happens enough, the balls that are underneath the BGA, ball grid array, that is under this processor, simply detaches from the PCB. In some rare cases, this may actually cause the track to be torn off the board, damaging it irreparably. Well, it's not irreparably, but next to. But the bigger problem is that the PCB ages. And what we do here is half mechanical, mostly mechanical, half electronic, whereby reflowing the processor. Changing it wouldn't really change a thing. I mean, we change it when we have to change it, but if you don't change it, and just reflow it, but stretch it so that instead of being bent upwards or downwards, if you just stretch it straight, and you can see that if you look just really horizontally from above to see whether this edge is going back or forward or how it is, it actually works fine for a while. We don't know how long. That depends on so many things. It depends on how it was serviced here, how it is installed there, which one of those screws presses more, which one doesn't. Some boards have support on the back, and that's not a bad idea. The bad thing is it's so easy to scrub that support to make it push the board upwards, which is just as bad as not having any support, and in some cases worse. So what you need to know is that you are basically buying time. And the best thing that you can do going forward, if you want to take as much life out of that board as possible, is to put some really tiny support underneath. Like you can get thermal transfer pads of different length, like 1 millimeter. That depends from board to a board and TV to a TV. And this one is pretty close to the base on the back. So whatever goes, it has to be relatively larger. It has to press evenly, and the back itself is not even. That's another problem with that board. Right on the back of the processor, there is a huge capacitor that, if you cover it, that's going to be the local point of insertion. If you press too much there, it just will push it upward when it starts warping. And that is just as bad as any other, as I said, and sometimes it's just worse. Let's see if we take that and I can show you what I'm talking about. So on the back side of this large capacitor is the highest point of the board. So what you want to do is you want to put some, they basically use it for support right here. And that might also work. Then the goal is for this to be flat and even, and it's not. And the reason it's not is because the heat from that is unevenly distributed across the PCB. Cooling it does help, but it's not enough through this. More cooling probably is not going to help as well. It's not designed to be handling something like that. It's never going to handle it. It worked for a long time. You just spray it's going to work for as long as you can, because that's all you got. That's it. We do what we can. If you have to add support, tiny thermal pads, place them around that capacitor. The ones that are used, usually there should be one underneath this, between the heatsink and the processor. You can find them on eBay. They're in different depths, 1 millimeter, 1.5, 2 millimeters. You should get something that's relatively small and place it around that capacitor just to get the area bigger. We don't do those things because they're tricky and questionably beneficial. When we know that they're unquestionably beneficial and when they're relatively straightforward to implement, in other words, when the benefits justify the cost, the risk, and everything, then we do them as part of the repair. In this case, not quite clear, but if you want to do something you don't have to do that, but make sure when you install the board, if you feel any big, if it doesn't lay evenly, that's going to be a problem. Now we stretch them here so that board is more even than as it came, but heat will make it go back to what it was, and then it will start getting worse. And it will resist because the solder was redone, so it's going to hold on for a while, but something ultimately will give up. And then you're going to have the same or worse problem. So that's all you need to know. Best of luck.